Welcome to task 2, domain 5, planning transparency. So what are we trying to do here? We're trying to make planning activities visible and transparent. How do we do this? By encouraging participation of key stakeholders and publishing planning results. And why? To increase commitment level and reduce uncertainty. Roy, comments?
This is all about empiricism. It's about seeing the empirical process control methodology, right? You got to have transparency in all aspects, and that includes impediments, but also in the planning activities. We need to know why decisions are being made a certain way. Everything visible, everything transparent, 100% honest, and that's how you're able to solve problems and make good decisions, with that openness and that honesty. So lots of participation as well. We want everyone to be heard. And imagine we got a whole bunch of people making decisions. Again, brings us back to that participatory decision model techniques, right? All those kinds of things that we get decisions fast by a larger group of people, everyone heard. Now here's the benefit of all this. If everyone's involved, if everyone sees the openness and the honesty, the commitment level skyrockets, right? It's like, yes, I was part of this decision. So yes, I am committed to doing this. And we have less passive aggressive disagreement, right, Phil?
Absolutely, Roy. That's a very good point. You get more buy-in when people feel they had a part to play in it.
Yep.
Here in PMI's Agile Practice Guide, Roy, I want us to talk really quick about some of these events or ceremonies or meetings. I don't know which stand PMI takes, but I know Ken and Jeff will refer to the ones in Scrum as events. And the PMBOK guide is probably, what do they call them? It says, describe a few of the most common Agile practices. So let's talk about one that is not mentioned in the Agile Practice Guide. It's backlog preparation. And that's, for a lot of people, it's the mystery of how do things get into the backlog in the first place. So let's talk about that. And it's absent in Scrum as far as right there as one of the ceremonies, but it does happen. And can you talk about how some of these workshops unfold, like story writing and planning at the high levels of releases and so on?
Absolutely. So there are really several ways that a backlog is being refined or backlog is being prepared. Right. So some of it is done behind the scenes by the product owner, no formal meetings. They're doing some work on their own because they're adults and they can do work on their own without having formal opportunities to work with everybody. But that's not enough. There are times where you do need the whole team involved, or at least, significant portions of the team. And that's where backlog refinement happens. Backlog refinement is a regular cadence event, meaning that we spend some time together as a group and we talk about the work that's coming up, get it elaborated, add the details, add estimates, make sure we understand it, make sure that the work is ready so that it can be properly and successfully implemented. All the information you need to be attached to the user story so we can see what this thing is and what's expected of us, right? And most importantly, to know when we're done, right? Got to manage that scope creep. We don't want scope creep in Agile either. Change does not necessarily mean scope creep. So the whole backlog refinement event is not part of the Scrum Guide, but every team does it. And if they're not doing it, they should do it, because that gives us the opportunity to plan the work and prepare the work before we actually execute it. It's about gaining understanding, right? If we don't understand the work, how are you going to successfully complete it? What are your thoughts, Phil? Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. And the whole concept of transparency, we're not saying that we need stakeholders in every single meeting, but where necessary, we can invite them, can't we?
Absolutely. Bring them into the refinement sessions when it's appropriate to do so. They don't always have to be there, but they can be really valuable. What we're really looking to do with that, Phil, is we're looking to reduce waste, right? So if we can have somebody that can make a decision right there in the meeting with us, go get them, right? Bring them to the meeting. That way you don't have to, well, I need a decision from so-and-so, and 2 weeks later, they finally sign off on something. We want them right there, right?
Brilliant. All right. And that's it. Task 2, all about transparency, encouraging participation of key stakeholders, not all and sundry, but key stakeholders. And of course, making the plan results transparent, the backlog, sprint backlog, whatever else you use, just allow people to have access to it. All right. That concludes task 2.